Hello, Darren Patterson, the athletic director here at Chequamegon. Joining me here today is Carmen Morgan, our head volleyball coach. And Coach Morgan, I've been thinking about you a little bit. Here you are in Wisconsin. I know it's really cold weather here, but you probably came from a place that gets even a little bit cooler, huh? A little colder from Canada.
You got it. Saskatchewan, Canada, where 40 below is the norm in January and February. So, yeah, this is mild in comparison. Definitely tolerable here in Wisconsin.
So growing up, you were accustomed to going to school on some very cold days.
Yes. The bus didn't run if it hit -50.
Oh.
Otherwise, it was on. Okay. School was on. Yeah.
And I suppose with that, you kind of learn to be tough, and you kind of just learn to deal with the elements. And speaking of being tough and having to deal with elements, now you're leading a high school volleyball program.
Sure.
But before we really get into that, I did want to touch base because I don't think a lot of people know this about Coach Morgan, because when you think of her as the volleyball person, but you also had a strong background with hockey too. I guess basically 90% of the population in Canada has a hockey background. But
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a Canada sport, right, as you know.
yeah,
But yeah, I spent 12 years playing.
yeah,
Men's hockey, 1 year playing women's and men's. Just with a small town, there's no women's hockey, and so you end up playing with the boys team. And I spent 12 years doing that, and just having a lot of ups and downs. It took a lot of work to compete with the boys,
yeah.
and to stay at that level, and then to play on a women's team when I got older. And all of that work that I put in with the boys really accelerated me in the women's game. So I had a lot of enjoyment, and travel. I got to travel a lot with hockey.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And you were a highly recruited hockey athlete. Even if my memory serves me right, you were even recruited or looked up like that was University of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So when Coach Morgan says she has a hockey background, she was pretty good to be getting looks like that. Let's put it mildly at that. And so hockey was kind of your passion, and now it's kind of rolled over to volleyball. So let's transition into the volleyball piece of this. And as you guys know, this is our third episode now. We like to highlight a coach, a student, athlete, community members, anyone that contributes anything to our community in terms of athletics. And so let's get into the volleyball piece of it. You guys have been going at it now for, well, in terms of competition, about 3 weeks maybe now, 3.5 weeks.
That's right.
What do you see with the team as far as where you're at from beginning of season to where we are now?
Already short term, I think improvements, hard work, commitment. We are already creeping up and improving as we go along. Where we started was pretty exciting at the beginning of the season. I had a lot of high hopes that we could play with other teams,
Yeah.
and we are doing that for the most part. But you always see the ups and downs of a team, and the morale that has to be learned.
Yeah.
That mental toughness has to be learned, and you have to put yourself in tough situations. And in the moment in that game, you're thinking, I got to be mentally tough to get out of the situation, or to overcome this situation. And so I've been talking a lot with the girls about that, and I've seen these improvements already.
Yeah.
So them among themselves saying, hey, we got to be mentally tough here. Let's, the other team has scored 3 or 4 points on us. Let's stop this momentum. Let's shift it. Let's do something different and try to get us out of this. So there's some toughness there. I love that.
I like the mental toughness part that you're kind of bringing in, that because sometimes in sports that's a lost piece of it. I mean, sometimes you can get by on just talent alone, but the really good teams, they know how to bear down. They know how to dig a little bit deeper within themselves, especially when things can be tough, and sports creates a lot of adversity. So, when you kind of think about your team, it's a young squad in some ways, particularly when we're looking at the varsity team in particular.
Yes.
So, you're kind of going through all those trials and whatever, and I think there's certainly something to be said about it, and the fact that you're seeing improvement with the girls suggests that we are treading in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of it has to do with coachability, a willingness to be coached.
Yeah.
I won't look too far back, but I have a group of girls that are willing to be coached, and just that openness. Hey, look me in the eye, hear what I'm saying, and then try to adjust on the court And I love to see it because the next player, a couple plays later, they get to test that out right
Yeah.
then and there. And then I see that change happening. And I'm like, God, they're listening to me. You know, this is awesome.
A breakthrough.
Yeah.
And with our particular league in the Marywood Conference, it's a very, very competitive, good league. You know, I always consider the Marywood Conference one of the premier small school conferences in the state of Wisconsin, and really all the sport offerings that the Marywood has. There seems to be a state contending team in all the sports, and volleyball is no exception to that. So you play at some pretty decent schools, teams that are well coached, well talented, well seasoned, probably with some upperclassmen on their teams. And we're kind of the school here that's trying to knock on the door. We're trying to join the party, so to speak, try to reach that next level that some of our conference foes are at. And so when you took this position, you kind of knew it was a rebuild, sort of, you know, something
I
that...
don't know what
Yeah.
what I thought, but I learned really quickly that it was a rebuild, that I like, you know, the imagery of trying to build the foundation of a building, and we're literally pouring cement here at Chequamegon.
Yeah.
And so you want a nice, beautiful house, but you got to do the difficult work first of laying the foundation, and that takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I need athletes willing to work with me to do the build.
Okay.
So that's where we're at.
And there is only one place to go. It's up. Now, when you kind of look at your varsity roster in particular, are there any girls that are jumping out at you that you'd like to recognize here, that you're just like, you know what, these are some girls that are just, they're giving it their all? Are there some girls that stand out in particular with you?
You've got your upperclassmen. You've got Elena Ryback.
Yeah.
You've got Ella Weinberger, that are really leading the ship as upperclassmen on the court, off the court. I rely heavily on them for leadership roles and trying to execute what I ask on the court. But I have a lot of underclassmen on the court. Freshmen, I got 2 or 3 freshmen on the team that see a lot of court time, and sophomores as well. So I have just an extremely young team. I'm really impressed with all of them. You know, their character, their work ethic, their commitment level. But you know, I only have a couple upperclassmen there, you know, that are really excelling and put a lot of pressure on their shoulders to try to perform in the game. And so, yeah, Ella and Elena get a lot of words from me in regards to getting out there and leading the team.
Okay.
So.
Well, good. And so where we're at right now with as far as our season goes, yesterday you were at Abbotsford, so that was game 1 of your Marywood Conference slate as far as being into the conference portion of your schedule. And for the most part, that's where we're kind of trending now with our schedule. We essentially play mainly conference games on Tuesdays.
Yes.
And we do have a few non-conference games trickled in there, like next Thursday. Our next home game is against Winter, which will be a non-conference one. But is there... If I'm just trying to piece together what remains on the schedule, we're not really in the middle part of it. We're getting close to it. But obviously every coach wants to kind of be peaking towards the end. You know, everyone kind of looks at the tournament as something that you kind of hang your hat on, and you can want to kind of have those good field moments, like, hey, we've kind of arrived, kind of maybe looking for a signature win of some sort, or, you know, maybe we go into the tournament and, you know, win a few matches, or even like put a scare into someone that maybe we shouldn't be playing with. Is that kind of where your mind's kind of looking at as you kind of move on now here, as we kind of really get into things?
Absolutely. I want to see the continuous growth throughout the season, and just one at a time. Like we have Prentice; they are considered number 1 in the state in their division. And then Athens is number 5 in the state in their division.
And there again, that's what we're talking about with the conference.
Super deep conference. Phillips is incredibly gifted right now too. I think they're going to be a dark horse coming in, and I think that we have our work cut out for us. But I love the excitement of the challenge, and to see how far we can go in depth within a set. And just last night we played Abbotsford, and if I reverse a year, just take a year away, we couldn't compete with Abbotsford a year ago. I think we got 5 or 6 points a set on them a year ago, and last night we were 17, 18 points in the sets. And so that, to me, says we are moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And these girls are committed, and they're coachable, and they're ready to. They're hungry. They're
Yeah.
hungry. They want to go after something, and we got to get those skills honed in so that we can effectively go after those teams.
Well, and hunger is a good thing too. So we're very appreciative of everything that you're trying to do here with the program and to lead these girls into the right path. And obviously it's always bigger than just playing the sports. I mean, these are lifelong lessons that the kids are taking with them, that someday when they leave Chequamegon and go on to college or a job or become a wife or have a mother, that they will translate these skills that they learned from here at school or on the court, as we'd say in volleyball, that they could take with them. So,
Absolutely.
Keep up the good work here. And I guess I'll just close with the last question here. Do you still put the skates on sometimes just for good old times? Do you?
I do, but my knees.
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Just this last winter, it'd been about 10 years since I had last skated. And I strapped them on here in Park Falls, and I just had a joyride.
I bet you did.
Yeah, it was incredible. So, yeah,
Okay.
it's fun.
Well, very good. So head coach Carmen Morgan of our volleyball program joining us here today. And please, fans, community, if any opportunities to come and watch the girls play, please take advantage of it and come up here and see them. They work very hard. And we say this with all our programs too. When we have home events, or even if you want to get in your car on the road, we still would take you on the road too. But the more support that we can give our kids here at school, they certainly feed off of our energy and excitement. And we're trying to make this a wonderful place here to be and be a part of things. So with that said, Coach Morgan, good luck the rest of the way. And
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we'll have a new visitor on next week for our next installment of Chequamegon Sports Spotlight. Thank you.